Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Measuring the Business Value of Apple Device Management. My name is Jen Kaplan, and I will be your moderator. We are so excited about our host for today, Kate Rodriguez, a partner at Hobson Company. Welcome, Kate.
Thanks so much for the kind introduction, Jen. I'm really looking forward to sharing the results of my research with you today. We've got a lot of great material to cover, so let's jump right into the agenda we have for this session on measuring the business value of Apple device management. It's my hope in our next 30 minutes together that we can share some information regarding what's driving the increasing need for more comprehensive device management and what your peers care about when evaluating Apple device management solutions. We'll start with a brief introduction to both Jamp and Hobson. I'll then share a framework for measuring the value of an Apple device management solution. Our objective is to leave you with a set of skills you can walk away with and apply right away. My goal here is twofold. One, to provide you with a value framework to use when evaluating Apple device management solutions for your organization. And two, to have you walk away with the 8 key metrics of concern when creating your own value assessment of the categories that impact your business. At the end, as a practical example, I'll walk you through an ROI case study that shares the concepts of our findings. Then Jen will walk you through some of the key capabilities from Jamf, and we've allotted some time for Q&A at the end. You can post your questions to the WebEx console anytime throughout the webinar.
Great. So for those who aren't familiar with Jamf, let's kick things off with a brief overview. Jamf's mission is to help organizations succeed with Apple. We bring the legendary Apple experience to organizations of all sizes via our Jamf Pro, Jamf Now, and Jamf Connect products, and the 70,000-member Jamf Nation community. Our solutions automate and simplify Mac, iPad, iPhone, and Apple TV deployment and security while driving end-user productivity. Today, Jamf helps more than 18,000 businesses, education, and government organizations worldwide manage more than 11 million Apple devices. We serve key markets such as the top tech companies, the most valuable brands, and over 6,000 schools. And now I'll pass it back to Kate to talk a little bit about Hobson Company.
As Jen mentioned earlier, I'm a partner with the consulting firm Hobson Company. We're an independent third-party research firm that specializes in helping companies uncover, quantify, and validate their key sources of value, driving the adoption of new and emerging technologies. We have over 17 years of experience working with companies across a wide range of industries. Jamp commissioned our team at Hobson to help them uncover the key areas of their value proposition that were most important to their existing client base. Today, I'll walk you through our findings from the research. Let's go ahead and dive into the key steps in measuring the business value of an Apple device management solution. As I mentioned earlier, Hobson specializes in helping companies find, uncover, quantify, and validate their key sources of value. The core of our work is done through interviewing existing users of the technology. For the Jamf research, we conducted 15 in-depth one-on-one interviews with key clients across a variety of vertical markets. From these interviews, we walked away with a very deep sense of the key business pains that Apple device management solutions such as Jamf help solve and how to dimensionalize the magnitude of that pain. The benefits that made the cut into the final model were essentially validated for both importance and believability. The Jamp solution has definitely made a difference. And one key metric was tied to each benefit, so it's super transparent what's improved, therefore what to track. Lastly, we developed an ROI model in order to develop a customized business impact analysis for any organization interested in understanding the impact of Jamp's Apple device management solution. Let's now walk through the key value drivers, benefits, and metrics that were uncovered during our research process. During our research, we uncovered several key industry trends that really drove the need for a best-in-class Apple device management solution. The first was compromised security. Security is a top priority for IT departments, yet it can be challenging to enforce consistent security policies across all devices. Most organizations still depend heavily on end users to maintain the appropriate settings, and this results in a patchwork of settings across the entire Apple ecosystem. While updates are happening, they're not done so consistently, resulting in unintended vulnerabilities. We also heard about rising end user expectations. End users are more dependent on their technology to get their jobs done effectively and efficiently. When they log a ticket for IT support, they expect it to be resolved quickly in order to minimize their unproductive downtime. Often, they're left waiting in a long queue as IT resources are stretched thin. And lastly, we heard about the desire for an Apple-focused solution. The lack of focus on Apple-specific device management solutions has left IT administrators with half-baked solutions for their IT management challenges. These solutions are not designed specifically for use with Apple devices, so handling common IT tasks such as provisioning and installing software are really inefficient and often ineffective. This leads to many hours of unnecessary manual and tedious troubleshooting. Emerging from our research were 3 consistent value drivers with 8 corresponding benefits. The first key value driver is simplify IT management. This covers the efficiencies gained from automating the management of IT assets. The key benefits here focus on productivity improvements with provisioning devices and managing applications. In addition, there are several cost savings opportunities, the first with software license spend and the second with a reduction in help desk tickets. The second key value driver is improve end user experience. Jamf is very rich from an employee satisfaction perspective, since it helps with the area of providing an improved work experience by reducing end user productivity loss due to unresolved technical problems. This is not only supported by measuring a reduction in the quantity of tickets logged, but also a reduction in the time to close a ticket. And lastly, the third key value driver is around mitigating risk. This was important across the board as companies worked to improve the security of their IT assets. Many of the interviewees referenced their positive experience with improving security with the ability to enforce consistent policies across all devices. I'm now going to walk through the top 8 benefits and metrics and the improvements that we saw. When evaluating Apple device management solutions, there could be an infinite number of metrics that you might wish to track and control. By using the value framework presented on the previous slide, I'd suggest that you look at your top 1 to 2 pains and needs across each of the key value drivers to focus on, the ROI benefits, that will have the greatest impact in your organization. Hopefully, the benefits reviewed here, as well as these corresponding metrics, will help bring some focus to this exercise in terms of both real metrics to consider and general benefit areas to evaluate. I'd now like to walk through each benefit and the corresponding metric that we use to measure the impact. In addition, I'd like to share some specific data and quotes gathered during the customer interview process that help dimensionalize the magnitude of impact one could expect. For benefit 1, we have reduced time spent provisioning devices, and the metric is the average time spent provisioning. We had many customers discuss the tedious nature of manually provisioning devices prior to using Jamp. On average, we found customers using Jamp experienced an 80% reduction in the amount of time spent provisioning devices. And one information security officer I spoke with said prior to Jamp, the help desk would take a few days to image a device, and now we can get it done in a few hours. The second benefit is around reducing time spent on application management. And the metric we use here is the average time spent on managing or installing applications. The IT professionals that we spoke with expressed frustration with the challenges of ensuring users are all using consistent versions of the software so that they can be more efficient when planning upgrades or patches. On average, customers interviewed reported a 90% reduction in the time spent managing applications. One IT leader shared that managing software with Jamp is one of our biggest areas of gain. Pushing out apps is 1,000% easier with Jamp. Our third benefit is reducing the cost of application licenses, and the metric we looked at was the annual software license spend. Without visibility into software configurations and use, organizations are prone to making overly conservative and expensive purchase decisions. Customers we interviewed reported a 2% reduction in overall software license costs. One director of IT operations I spoke with said that prior to Jamf, we used the kitchen sink method, installing all possible software on a device. But now we're able to use a more efficient, layered approach, which saves us from consuming licenses for applications that aren't needed. Our fourth benefit is around reducing the volume of help desk tickets, and the metric we looked at was the average annual volume of help desk tickets. When end users have technical difficulties, the first step to resolution is logging a ticket with the help desk. The customers we spoke with on average experienced a 15% reduction in the volume of help desk tickets. One IT manager I interviewed said, "We have seen a dramatic reduction in the number of help desk tickets. In the initial 6 months, we had a 20% reduction in help desk tickets and have stabilized at a reduction of 40 to 45% fewer tickets." Our fifth benefit is reducing end user productivity loss due to unresolved technical problems, and the metric we looked at was the time to close a ticket. Excessive new device setup times and unresolved technical problems with employee devices leads to excessive unproductive time for end users. Customers I spoke with typically experienced a 60% reduction in the time to close an open ticket. I heard from one IT manager that Jamf Remote has helped us reduce first response time down from 5 hours to less than 1 hour. Our sixth benefit is around automating security and policy management, and the metric we looked at was the average time spent managing security and policy settings. Manually maintaining ongoing configuration settings is really time-consuming and resource-intensive. The customers we interviewed typically experienced a 65% reduction in the time they were spending managing these settings. And one company I spoke with mentioned that with Jamf, we're able to achieve 80% deployment rate on security settings in 2 hours. With the tools we were using before, it took us 48 hours. And our seventh benefit is on reducing time spent managing IT inventory reports. The metric we used to measure this was the average time spent managing these inventory reports. One of the more time-consuming tasks for IT staff is tracking, computing, and mobile assets and the software that's installed on them. This information is used to ensure license compliance, effectively manage device life cycles, and other auditing needs. The customers we interviewed typically experienced a 90% reduction in the time they're spending creating and managing these reports. I spoke with an enterprise infrastructure specialist that said, prior to having Jamf, it would take me 2 to 3 days to pull the information from 4 to 5 different sources, and it was only about 85% accurate. Now it takes me 5 minutes and it's 100% accurate. And our last benefit is around reducing the probability of a costly security breach through consistent deployment of baseline security policies across all devices. And the metric we used here was the general probability of having a security breach. Security breaches are brand eroding and expensive to remediate. Customers that we interviewed reported a 2 basis point reduction in the probability of experiencing a breach. While each industry has different regulating bodies, I spoke with a healthcare company that shared fines run up to $50,000 per violation per record with a maximum penalty of $1.5 million. And the Jamf tool has helped us avoid these fines. So we've also developed a representative ROI case study to share with you. We validated the final model findings with a major media company. Prior to implementing Jamf, they were struggling with inconsistencies across their devices and poor visibility into their device portfolio, which was causing a lot of inefficient work for them. They brought in Jamf with the 3 goals of increasing consistency across all Apple devices, improving visibility into their device portfolio, and establishing best-in-class device management practices. For the ROI analysis, we spent a few minutes gathering some key business inputs to help quantify the value of the Apple device management solution in their specific environment. It's important to remember that this example highlights the key benefits that were most important to this client based on a customized business impact analysis, leveraging the ROI calculator from our research. Benefits can be turned on and off on the fly, inputs changed, and assumptions challenged to best reflect a given organization. But this example will give you a good sense of what kind of ROI expectations an organization should have of Jamp in terms of payback period and specific ROI targets. There are 5 key customer-specific sizing inputs for the ROI calculator. The total number of Apple devices managed, and in this case it was 3,158. The average number of devices provisioned per year, and for this case it was 800. The average time spent provisioning each device, and here it was 4.5 hours. And the average number of inventory reports created per month, and here they're creating approximately 2. And the average number of applications or upgrades installed per month, and here we started with 15. Once we walked through all the assumptions and benefits with the internal team and customized the inputs and assumptions to align with their business, as well as turning off benefits that weren't applicable, we reviewed the ROI analysis. The overall ROI figures are strong at a 3.9-month payback period and a 438% 3-year ROI. The 3-year cumulative return is over $3 million. The model also summarizes how the benefits fall across the 3 core value drivers. In this case, with Simplify IT Management at 42% of the benefit, Improve End User Experience at 15%, and Mitigating Risk at 43%. You can also see here that the majority of this client's value is being created through productivity enhancing benefits from automation. Cost improvements were somewhat limited here because they're linked to reducing the volume of help desk tickets, and for this example, they had a below average number to begin with. Here's how the benefits split by benefit type. Productivity improvements at 89% and cost savings at 11%. Earlier, we discussed the top 8 benefits of Apple device management. But we found with this particular example, there were really 5 that drove 90% of the benefit they were experiencing. The number 1 benefit in this example is automate security and policy management at 24% of the value, followed by reduced time spent managing applications, as well as reducing time spent provisioning devices coming in at 18% each. That all adds up to $960,000 per year in savings. As mentioned earlier, our model allows Jamp to configure the analysis to speak more directly to your specific business challenges. You can turn on and off factors and assumptions to effectively create a custom business case of your own. It really needs to be credible at the specific benefit level first, before anything's rolled up and communicated at an overall ROI level. I'm now going to pass the mic back over to Jen so she can summarize some of Jamp's key capabilities.
Thank you, Kate. Let's dive into some of the key capabilities we touched on today. So to recap, Jamf Pro lets you accomplish zero-touch deployments, device configuration, app management, extensive inventory, complex security controls, and provides your users with a self-service app catalog that you can populate with approved apps and resources. And really, it's about more than our products. Our teams offer on-location or remote services to customize Jamf Pro for your environment. We also offer certification courses led by our training team or online training for you to learn on demand. Finally, we have world-class support from Apple experts from across the globe. We even offer 24/7 support through our premium support packages. And of course, we are nothing without our customers and the Apple admin community, which is why we are incredibly proud of Jamf Nation. This community is over 70,000 members strong and is free and open to anyone. It's a forum where Apple IT-focused individuals can learn from each other and gain best practices. And another channel to brush up on your Apple management expertise is the Jamf webinar library on jamf.com. Watch all webinars on demand anytime at jamf.com/resources/webinars. And if you're interested in receiving a one-to-one complimentary and complete analysis of the ROI your organization can expect with Jamf Pro, similar to what we discussed today, head to jamf.com and click on Contact to get in touch with one of our experts. Thank you so much to our host, Kate from Hobson, and thank you again for joining today's webinar.